Welcome back to Kettle Talk. I'm joined by the assistant coach, Brian Scott, in his 7th season with the Cotuit Kettleers. And Brian, you've been pretty much through the ups and downs with the Kettleers, but I'm curious, does it kind of fascinate you and enthrall you to have that unpredictability on opening day every year of not knowing what you're going to get and just throwing your elbows into it and getting to the hard work?
Definitely, and it doesn't matter at what point in the season it happens. Like in 2010, when we won the championship, I think we lost the last 6 in a row to go into the playoffs. So it's just, you never know what you're going to get, like you said, as the season starts. So it is pretty fun to begin and see where it goes from there.
Now, you mentioned that 2010 championship team, also the 2013 championship team as well. Do you see maybe some characteristics or some intangibles with this group as opposed to those last 2 groups that won the championship?
Sure, I think just the positivity and the ability to want to work. And they've just done a great job, I think, of trying to stay positive, because there's been a lot of times where we should have been down and we could have been really down, but we stayed positive, and as you can see, they're still working and they'll continue to work until the last day. And I think both the 2010 and 2013 teams showed that.
Now, let's talk about that 2013 team. You were a coach with Nolan Clark, who was, I guess, the 4th string catcher starting, and then eventually worked his way up and eventually was the starter. But, what's it like now actually being his coach, or actually being, I guess, his colleague, as opposed to just being his coach?
Well, guys like Nolan and Matthew Kinney, that's a coach now, they were basically player coaches when they were here. They were just mature players that knew the game and how to help other players, and so that just makes sense for them to become a coach after they're done playing. So it's great to have them on the staff.
Now, day-to-day for you, we were just talking off the air about you being an assistant coach. You're pretty much a bench coach too, and Mike Roberts is right-hand man. So day-to-day or game-to-game, what do your responsibilities include?
Just trying to think about how we can get better as the game goes along, what kind of adjustments we can make in terms of the lineup, or who to bring in from the bullpen, and who we need to pinch run for, pinch hit for, just how we can get better, especially in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and try to win those innings. And hopefully the game is close at that point, and otherwise there's not much we can do.
Now, how did you get in touch with Cotuit, and how did you make your way over here?
I taught in Truro, which is towards the end of Cape Cod, environmental education in 2009, 2010, the school year there, and I kind of looked and saw that I wouldn't even be able to see a game, and I just wanted to be connected with the league in somehow or some way, and I contacted basically all the teams, and Coach Roberts was the one that got back to me and said, hey, we might have a position for you. He liked my resume. We talked on the phone a few times, and he must have liked me enough to give me an opportunity and has welcomed me back since then. So
now, I've spoken to a couple of players to say what it's like to play with Coach Roberts, but what's it like to actually be one of his coaches, and how much responsibility does he give you guys? How open is he to everyone's observations, not just you, but Coach Clark, Coach Kenny, Coach Calhoun?
Well, we meet a lot after the games, and sometimes before the game, to talk about what we're seeing, because we'll see some things that he's not seen, and he always wants our feedback. And I think he trusts us a lot because of our experiences. And Nick hasn't been here that long, but he's trusted now as well. And he really takes our input and our feedback and runs with it. So it's great to be able to give that input and not just kind of be hanging around. So.
Now, all the coaches are, I think, put up in a cottage or a house. You guys all live together. I spoke to one coach who wants to stay anonymous, saying that it was pretty much like a frat house. Is that true? Can you confirm that?
Well, no. It does a trick. It's a place to sleep, so we're here a lot, and I mean, it's awesome to spend your days at Lowell Park. And I don't know what, when I would think of frat house, what I would come up with, but it's fun.
I mean, he said it was closer to Animal House, but I don't. Okay, no, but with that said, though, how much do you get to grow with these coaches? Because now the game's over. I mean, there's no lights here. I would say that the lights are off. But either way, you guys are now back home, and you get to just kick it and get to learn about one another. How do your friendships grow in just being together with everybody?
Well, it's like being in the trenches with the guys. I mean, we're here 12 hours a day or 14 hours or whatever it is, and then we go back and we don't do much besides talk about the game and the next day and eat and go to sleep. But it's great to be able to share that experience and not just kind of part ways after the game, but be together and make a plan for the next day and talk about what went right or what didn't go right that day.
One player that I was looking up in your tenure here, Casali, you coached, and he made it to the major leagues from Vanderbilt. When you get a player like that is still trying to find himself in the major leagues, but from every level on, he was the top guy, and he was looked upon as a major league prospect. When you get guys like a Casali or anybody who's just fringe MLB players, they actually were, bigger at a lower level. So what stands out about them? And, when you see a player like that, do you think, hey, this guy could be a major league guy, or this guy's a no-doubter, or, what goes through your mind?
I think there's some guys that definitely you think because of their talent and how hard they work, they're going to make it. And there's other guys that they just need certain breaks. The 2010 team had 7, 8, or 9 guys that have made it to the major leagues, and to tell you something about Kurt, he was injured as the season went along and then came back for the playoffs. So he was with us in the dugout when we won at YD, even though he wasn't even dressed for the game. So that tells you something right there about how much he cares about the team and about what he had started in his time here. And I'm sure that continues with the Rays organization.
And the last one for you. So you were a pitcher at DePaul, right? So what do you notice about pitchers maybe of your generation when you were there, early 2000s, as opposed to now? Because there's a lot of pitchers that come up that are just pitchers. They don't play other sports, and maybe that hinders them. There's not really been any research on that, but or anything that's been conclusive. So what do you notice about those pitchers that have just been pitchers growing up, not football, basketball, track and field stars?
Well, that's something we try to stress at the high school program that I coach in, is just playing those other sports. So taking the time off from baseball, and also being an athlete in terms of competing in basketball or hockey or whatever the other sports are. And I think that's true that back when I played, guys did play more sports, and it was sort of the start of the travel ball era. And I just think that it is a benefit to play more sports. It just can help the guys and give a break from your arm and just give you that athleticism to help you on the field.
All right, and then this will be the absolute last one. So let's go back to that non-frat house. Who's maybe a coach that is more vocal, or somebody that's just a fun guy to be around that you don't necessarily get to see, because when you guys are here, you're all pretty much just business?
Oh, they're all fun. I mean, there's some days where we go back and we don't really say anything at all because we're all tired from the day, but it's fun to, whenever we're able to spend some time together, whether it's 2 of us or all 4 of us, it's always fun.
All right, Brian, thanks for the time. It's Brian Scott. Starting lineups coming up right after this.